Welcome to Microbiology channel. Today I want to discuss about eukaryotic microbial diversity, fungi, part 3.
Diversity of fungi, Basidiomycetes. Basidiomycetes, this phylum contains about 30,000 species. Basidiomycetes is one of the largest phylum in fungi. In kingdom fungi, Basidiomycetes is one of the largest phylum. It contains about 30,000 species which form 37% of described species of kingdom fungi. These are identified by formation of filamentous mycelium. Basidiomycetes. Most of the Basidiomycetes members are characterized by presence of filamentous mycelium and absence of motile cells in their life cycles and absence of chlorophyll and presence of chitin rich cell walls and secretion of external digestive enzymes to degrade the food. So they produce a number of enzymes, external digestive enzymes, and degrade the complex organic materials, and they absorb those nutrients. Basidiomycetes include mushrooms, bolites and puffballs, toadstools, earth stars, stinkhorns, fairy clubs, bird's nest fungi, brocket fungi or shelf fungi. Brocket fungi are also known as shelf fungi, rust fungi and smut fungi. Basidiomycetes, it includes mushrooms, bolites and puffballs, toadstools, earth stars, stinkhorns, fairy clubs, bird's nest fungi, brocket or shelf fungi, rust fungi and smut fungi. Basidiomycetes, their mode of reproduction is asexual as well as formation of sexual spores. They produce both asexual and sexual spores during the reproduction. These are wild mushrooms. They normally seen in environment. Mushrooms, Basidiomycetes, mushrooms are normally seen in natural habitats. They have profound biological and economic impact due to their role in ecosystem maintenance. Basidiomycetes, they are key decomposers of organic matter in terrestrial ecosystems, and they play crucial role in ecology. And most of the members of Basidiomycetes are saprophytes, causing decay of litter, wood or dung. And some members of Basidiomycetes form mycorrhiza in association with the roots of angiosperms. Some Basidiomycetes are associated with the roots of angiosperm trees, forming mycorrhiza. Some Basidiomycetes, they cause severe diseases. Some in plants, some Basidiomycetes, they cause severe diseases and economic loss to the crop plants. And Basidiomycetes, one Basidiomycetes is a severe parasite, Armillaria millia. Armillaria millia, it destroys wide range of woody and herbaceous plants. Armillaria millia, it extensively damage the roots of the angiosperm plants, woody and herbaceous plants, and it causes damage to the woody and herbaceous plants, and it damage the both the trees and plants. Armillaria millia is responsible for causing root rot of woody and herbaceous plants. It is a silent killer. Rusts and smuts are two important groups of plant pathogens which cause heavy loss of cereals in the field. For example, loose smut of wheat caused by Ustilago tritici in wheat, loose smut of wheat caused by Ustilago tritici, corn smut of wheat caused by Ustilago maedis. Rust disease is caused by Puccinia species. Disease of wheat is caused by Puccinia graminis tritici. Puccinia graminis tritici, that is responsible for causing the rust of wheat. Basidiomycetes are typically mycelial, but some have tendency to grow as yeast. Most of the basidiomycetes, they form the mycelium, but some have a tendency to grow as yeast. The mycelium consists of well-developed septate hyphae, which often spread in a fan shape in some organisms. The mycelium consists of well-developed septate hyphae. The perforated complex septa called dolypore septa is characteristic feature of basidiomycetes. Basidiomycetes fungi, they contain a special complex septum called dolypore septum. Dolypore septum, it is a complex septum in which the edges of the pore are swollen and which are surrounded by bracket-like structures, parenthesomes. So this type of septa is called dolypore septa, characteristic feature of basidiomycetes. And in basidiomycetes, the mycelium has a strong tendency to form dikaryotic mycelium. The primary mycelium, the primary hyphae, has a strong tendency to become dikaryotic mycelium, secondary mycelium. So this is a strong tendency seen in basidiomycetes members. There are three different types of mycelia in basidiomycetes: primary mycelium, secondary mycelium and tertiary mycelium. In some hyphae and in tissues in basidiomycetes, handles or clamp connections are formed during the formation of secondary mycelium. Before the formation of secondary mycelium, you can see these handles and clamp connections in some basidiomycetes. Somatic mycelia of some basidiomycete species tend to exist as rhizomorphs. Number of hyphae lie parallel to one another and sometimes covered by a envelope sheath, and this structure is called rhizomorph. Rhizomorphs, they survive in adverse environmental conditions. In favorable conditions, they grow and form the mycelium. Mycelium in basidiomycetes is mainly three types: primary mycelium, secondary mycelium and tertiary mycelium. Primary mycelium develops upon the germination of a basidiospore. Primary mycelium is formed after germination of the basidiospore. So basidiospore germinate and form the germ tube, which grow and form hyphae, and that grow and form the primary mycelium. Primary mycelium or heterokaryon formation usually involves fusion. Secondary mycelium or heterokaryon, it is called secondary mycelium. It contains dikaryotic condition, that's why it is called heterokaryon. Secondary mycelium or heterokaryon formation usually involves fusion of two uninucleate cells of the primary mycelium. So fusion of two uninucleate cells of the compatible homokaryotic primary mycelia results in the formation of secondary mycelium. Secondary mycelium, it usually involves fusion of two uninucleate cells in the primary mycelium. So that leads to formation of secondary mycelium. The binucleate cell containing the two nuclei of opposite mating types perpetuates by conjugate divisions, and repeated conjugate divisions are accompanied by septum formation, resulting in the formation of extensive mycelium in which cells are dikaryotic. So such a mycelium, dikaryotic mycelium, is called secondary mycelium. What is tertiary mycelium? Tertiary mycelium is highly coiled secondary mycelium. It is also in dikaryotic condition. Tertiary mycelium is highly coiled secondary mycelium in dikaryotic condition. A basidium is a microscopic sporangium found on the hymenopore of the fruiting bodies of basidiomycete fungi, which are called tertiary mycelium, developed from the secondary mycelium. So the fruiting bodies of the fungi, these are tertiary mycelium, these are developed from the secondary mycelium. They also contain dikaryotic cells. So there are three different types of mycelia in Basidiomycetes, the primary mycelium and secondary mycelium and tertiary mycelium. Primary mycelium develop from the basidiospore. Upon germination of a basidiospore, the primary mycelium develops. Primary mycelium contain a single nucleus per each septa. So when the fusion of the primary mycelia takes place in somatogamy, the fusion of the primary mycelia takes place, leading to formation of the secondary mycelium. So the usual formation of secondary mycelium usually involves fusion of two uninucleate cells of the primary mycelium. So that is leading to formation of binucleate cells containing two nuclei in fused cell. So these two nuclei are of opposite mating type. So these two nuclei of opposite mating type perpetuate by conjugate divisions. By divisions, these two nuclei will perpetuate. The repeated conjugate divisions are accompanied by formation of the septum, resulting into the formation of extensive mycelium, extensive secondary mycelium. Just you can see in the picture how the primary mycelia of two different types, primary mycelia of two different types are here fused. So the cells from the primary mycelia are fused to form the dikaryotic cell, and how these dikaryotic cell containing these two nuclei again grew, again these two nuclei divided and formed the secondary mycelium. You can see in the picture. So actually this involves the formation of clamp connections also. Here in the picture you can see the hyphal fusion and the nuclear exchange, and after nuclear pairing, how the clamp connections are formed and the synchronized nuclear divisions leading to the formation of the number of cells of secondary mycelium having these two nuclei, and the clamp connections, how they are playing the role in formation of secondary mycelium. In this picture you can see here the spores on the land and germinating to form the monokaryotic hyphae, primary mycelium, primary hyphae. So you can see in the picture here. So the two different mating types of the primary hyphae, when the cells from the two different mating types of the primary hyphae fuse, that is leading to formation of dikaryotic mycelium, secondary mycelium. In dikaryotic mycelium you can see in each cell two different types of nuclei. So and that is the dikaryotic mycelium that involves the formation of clamp connections. And the dikaryotic mycelium, it will grow and it forms the fruiting bodies, fructifications, and sporophore or fruiting body is the tertiary mycelium. So that is nothing but the aggregate of the secondary mycelium. So secondary mycelium aggregate and form the complex structures called sporophore or the tertiary mycelium and fruiting body. So in the fruiting body, basidium is formed. In the basidium, these spores, basidiospores are formed. So each basidium, after release, the two nuclei will unite and form the diploid nucleus that divides by meiosis to form the four meiospores, basidiospores that you can see in the picture. The life cycle of the typical basidiomycetes member you can see here. In basidiomycetes, the monokaryotic phase, that is in the primary mycelium, is typically very short. In basidiomycetes, the primary mycelium phase is very short. The basidiomycetes tend to form the secondary mycelium, the dikaryotic phase. The dikaryotic phase starts with the coming together of two compatible nuclei of the primary mycelium during the plasmogamy. So, and formation of secondary mycelium that takes place. Dikaryotic phase starts with the coming together of two different nuclei, plus and minus nuclei, two compatible nuclei during the plasmogamy, and formation of the secondary mycelium takes place. Then secondary mycelium aggregate and form the fruiting bodies, the tertiary mycelium. So secondary mycelium predominate in the life cycle, and tertiary mycelium also predominate. Primary and secondary mycelia predominate in the life cycles of the basidiomycetes, whereas the primary mycelium is very short-lived. So primary mycelium is typically very short-lived. The secondary mycelium dominate in the basidiomycete life cycle. So dikaryotic phase starts with the coming together of two compatible nuclei during plasmogamy, fusion of the two different strains of the primary mycelium, and then the formation of secondary mycelium takes place, and secondary mycelium will grow, and the aggregates of the secondary mycelium leading to the formation of the tertiary mycelium or sporocarp. Dikaryotic phase ends with the karyogamy and meiosis in the basidium formed in the sporocarp or tertiary mycelium. Dikaryotic phase ends with the fusion of two nuclei, plus and minus nuclei. The fusion of two nuclei takes place in the basidium. So the resulting result of this karyogamy, so the diploid nucleus is formed. Diploid nucleus divide by meiosis, forming four haploid nuclei. Four haploid nuclei are surrounded by a bit of cytoplasm, and they are surrounded by the walls, and leading to the formation of four basidiospores in the basidium. Basidiomycetes fungi differ from other fungi that they produce basidiospores on the outside of a specialized spore producing structure, the basidium. These fungi differ from other fungi in the sexual reproduction, that they are producing basidiospores on the outside of the sporocarp. They are producing these spores outside. So when this basidium comes out from the basidiocarp, there only these basidiospores are produced. These fungi are differing from other fungi that they are producing basidiospores on the outside of a specialized structure, that is the spore producing structure, the basidium. Outside only they are forming these basidiospores. Most of the basidiomycetes except rusts and smuts produce their basidia in fruiting bodies of various types called basidiocarps. Most of the basidiomycetes except rusts and smuts, they produce their basidia in fruiting bodies called basidiocarps. So basidiocarps are produced by number of basidiomycetes except smuts and rusts. Basidiocarps vary in size. They may be microscopic and they may be in several feet in diameter. Basidiocarps of different basidiomycetes, the fruiting bodies of basidiomycetes, they vary in size, ranging from very small microscopic to large, several feet, sometimes feet in diameter. Basidiocarps, they may be crust-like, they may be gelatinous or cartilaginous, they may be like paper, they may be fleshy, or they may be sponge-like, or they may be cork-like, or sometimes they may be woody. So basidiocarps, they differ in the structure, they may be of different types, they may be crust-like, or they may be gelatinous, or like cartilage, like papery, or fleshy, or look spongy, or corky, or woody. So the different basidiomycete species produce different types of basidiocarps. There are some basidiomycetes, they are called mushrooms. Mushrooms are edible. They are having large amount of protein, and they possess medicinal properties. So these are mushrooms are edible fungi. Mushrooms are edible fungi. Several mushrooms are generally consumed as food, and they possess medicinal properties. They had several medicinal properties. Anti-cancer property they possess, anti-cancer, anti-tumor property, and they lower the cholesterol. These have several medicinal properties. So that's why they are widely used, consumed as the food, edible fungi. Agaricus species, Agaricus bisporus, Agaricus bisporus Paris mushroom, Agaricus campestris variety, bisporus Agaricus campestris white button mushroom, and Agaricus bitarquis, and Boletus, Caprinus, Comatus, Lactarius, Indigo, Lentinus, Idodus, and Flammulina, Velutypis, Markella is widely used, and Pleurotus ostriatus, oyster mushroom, Pleurotus ostriatus, and Russula breviipis, and Tremella fusiformis, and Olvariella olvaceae, Chinese paddy straw mushroom, Olvariella olvaceae, and these are the different mushrooms. They are used as the food. Agaricus brunescens, Agaricus campestris variety, bisporus, Agaricus bitarquis, Amanita cicerea, Boletus edulis, Coprinus comatus, Lactarius indigo, Lentinus idodis, Flammulina velutypis, Markella, Pleurotus ostrus, and Russula breviipis, and Tremella fusiformis, Olvariella olvaceae. These are the some important edible mushrooms. And black truffle tuber melanosporum, it is also edible fungi, black truffle tuber melanosporum. Some mushrooms are highly toxic. These are toxigenic mushrooms. Toxigenic mushrooms, they have toxins which cause damage to the body, which leads to intoxication, so poisoning, and sometimes death also takes place. Some species are highly poisonous, highly toxic. Toxigenic mushrooms are also there. Most of the toxigenic mushrooms belong to the genera Amanita genera. Most of the toxigenic fungi, toxigenic mushrooms belongs to Amanita genera. So toxigenic fungi includes Amanita bisporigina. Amanita bisporigina, this is one toxic basidiomycete member, toxic mushroom. Amanita muscaria, Amanita bisporigina, Amanita muscaria, Amanita phalloides, Amanita pantherina, Amanita verna. These are the Amanita species, highly toxic. Consumption of these mushrooms leads to even death. Amanita bisporigina, Amanita muscaria, Amanita phalloides, Amanita pantherina, Amanita verna. and Inocybe fastigiata and Paniolus spictrinus, Paniolus spictrinus and Pleurotus olearinus, Xylocybe cubensis and Xylocybe mexicana. So these are toxigenic fungi, toxigenic mushrooms. Actually, consumption of these mushrooms leads to intoxication. Consumption of these poisonous mushrooms leads to the intoxication. The intoxication, the poisoning is of two types. Short latency period, if it is lesser than 2 hours is there between the ingestion of the mushroom and appearance of the symptoms, it is mild intoxication, mild poisoning. Poisoning is of two types, mild poisoning and severe poisoning. Mild intoxication and severe intoxication. So these non-edible fungi, poisonous mushrooms, they cause two different types of intoxication, mild intoxication and severe intoxication. Mild intoxication and severe intoxication can be distinguished by the duration of the latency period. What is latent period? Latent period, that is the time between the ingestion of the mushroom and appearance of the symptoms is called latent period. So this latent period, so this latency period is lesser than 2 hours. If the latency period is very short, it is lesser than 2 hours, then it is mild intoxication. If the latency period is more than 6 hours, if the latency period is more than 6 hours, that is the gap between the ingestion of the mushroom and appearance of the symptoms is more than 6 hours, it is severe intoxication. Due to the poisonous mushrooms are of two types. Short intoxication, mild intoxication characterized by short latency period, and severe intoxication characterized by the longer latency period. So first, intoxications with a short latency period, that is the first gastrointestinal syndrome. Gastrointestinal syndrome, it is caused by consumption of non-edible mushrooms belonging to the species of Agaricus, Boletus, Rassula, Paxillus, Entoloma. Hallucinogenic syndrome, this results due to consumption of Xylocybe mexicana and Conocybe species and Paniolus species, Polyelota species. Muscarinic syndrome, this is the third type of intoxication. This results due to consumption of non-edible Inocybe, Boletus, Hebilloma species and consumption of Amanita muscaria. And Pantherinic syndrome, another type of intoxication, results due to consumption of Amanita muscaria and Amanita pantherina. Coprinus syndrome, caused by the consumption of Coprinus atramentarius. Coprinus atramentarius. So this non-edible mushroom consumption leads to Coprinus syndrome. Intoxications with a long latency period. So severe intoxication caused by this phalloid syndrome, Amanita species, Amanita phalloidis, Amanita verna, Amanita virosa. These are highly toxic, leading to phalloid syndrome, Amanita phalloidis, Amanita verna, Amanita virosa, and certain other species. So these species, they produce phalloid type toxins, particularly phalloidin and amatoxins, and this leads to hepatic and renal lesions. This leads to damage of the kidney, damage of the liver. It is called phalloid syndrome. And Gyromitra syndrome caused by the consumption of poisonous non-edible fungi. Gyromitra esculenta produce gyrometrin. This is the toxin responsible for Gyromitra syndrome. And Cortinarius syndrome, Cortinarius species, Cortinarius speciosissimus and Cortinarius venenosus, Cortinarius orellanus. These are responsible for causing Cortinarius syndrome. Damage of the kidney, damage of the nephrons takes place due to the toxin produced by these species. Cortinarius syndrome results.
Thank you for listening the lecture on eukaryotic microbial diversity, fungi part 3 on Basidiomycetes.